What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today, we're back with a brand new, to me, 2002 Chrysler Prowler. I think it is the cheapest one in the USA.
Like body on chassis as shown in figure 7.
It started with a childhood memory.
Well, it's got to be part retro.
Part modern. We gotta be nuts. And at the Chrysler Corporation, it grew into an idea for a car so outrageous, we just had to build it.
Well, it's not exactly for everyone, is it?
That's kind of the point.
It's how we do things at the Chrysler Corporation. It's how we build great cars and great trucks.
Now, feel free to check around for yourself and see if you can find a better deal than me, but I got this for right at $21,000. That's after auction fees. I bought this from Mannheim, which is a dealer-only auction. It was going up for sale the next day. They had a buy it now that I just couldn't pass up. All in with fees, I was looking at $21,400. And I thought, there's no way I'm finding this deal. I've wanted one of these ever since I was a kid. The problem is, for the longest time, prices on the Plymouth Prowler, or Chrysler Prowler, which is the case here, have just been too high for me, guys, for what they are. It is a completely impractical and really useless car. I've never driven one. I've never actually seen one in person before. But I know from watching other people's videos that this car is pretty much useless as something that you could daily drive. There's no room for groceries. There's no storage for anything. You can basically put two people in this car, and that's it. The prices for these things have been incredibly high. $35,000 seems to be the average going price for one of these. And I'll be quite honest with you, I got my Viper for $40,000. Big difference in cars here, guys. This is a race car, 500 horsepower V10. This is a 253 horsepower overhead cam V6 that you would find in a Dodge Intrepid. Okay, so what would you pick? Let's just be honest. Are you going to spend 35 grand for a 250 horsepower oddball car? Or are you going to spend just a little bit more money and get a clean title Dodge Viper, which, by the way, the Viper, as quirky of a car as it is, it has plenty of trunk space in the back, guys. There's plenty of room to actually fit stuff in there. All right, it's got room. This one has no room at all, so practicality out the window. So I've waited and waited until I could find one for a good price, and I couldn't believe that this came up while I was just browsing the marketplace there on Mannheim. It was going up for auction the next day, and I knew if I did not hit the buy it now button, this thing was going to be gone, and most likely, if it ever made it to auction, it was going to go for well over $20,000. Okay, $21,000 after all is said and done. I found this little book on eBay. This is specifically for a 2002 Chrysler Prowler. Now, if you're going to get one of these, I highly recommend that you get the 2002. No, not because it's the one I bought. Because by 2002, it was the last year, and they'd worked out all the major bugs with these cars. All the stuff that they had problems with before had been taken care of. Plus, you got the upgraded engine for 253 horsepower. So this is just a nice little, I don't know, a sales brochure or whatever of this car. Gives you some insights. It's got some cool photos, a lot of really nice illustrations. Oh, I love that color. That is Inca Gold Pearl Coat, guys. Beautiful. Here's this aluminum frame, the auto stick, the 3.5 liter overhead cam V6 engine. A lot of technology in this car, guys. Believe it or not, it is an oddball, and we'll get into that shortly. If you look here, you'll see that this has a rear-mounted transaxle. The engine is up front. This gives it a really nice, I think it's about right at 50-50 weight distribution. Engine up front, drive shaft, kind of like a propeller shaft or something that goes back here and connects directly to the transaxle in the rear. Absolutely cool how they did this. So we're not going to spend all day on this, but a couple interesting things about this car. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things about this car, guys. But this is actually a body on frame. Oh yeah, and they came with a trailer. For $5,000 additional dollars, you could buy a trailer because the trailer was the only way you could fit groceries or luggage or anything else in this car. All right, anyway, I wanted to show you that little brochure because I thought it was really cool. So this car is body on frame. This is not a unibody car. This was Chrysler Plymouth's attempt at doing aluminum work all right, for future production cars. They needed something that they could kind of offset the cost of experimenting with aluminum by selling the product. There's so many firsts with this car. In a way, you could say that Chip Foose made this car what it is today. And you could also say that this car made Chip Foose who he is today as well. A little backstory on that, Chip Foose was actually in school and he was approached along with everybody else in his class to do some designs for Chrysler / Dodge / Plymouth for something new. They wanted to do something new. They wanted to have something different, something unique, and they were going to be doing this whole aluminum thing. So they gave the specs to everybody at the school, and Chip Foose gave them 2 different designs. One design was exactly what they asked for, but he did something really unique. Behind everybody else's backs, in his own time, he designed what became ultimately the Chrysler / Plymouth Prowler. He did this separately from his regular work, and he pitched it to them alongside of the design that he made for them, saying, hey, this is an alternative that I think we should do. This is a modern day hot rod from the 30s. Well, the rest is history, guys, because Chip Foose got a pretty good deal. He became pretty famous after that, still famous to this day. And the Plymouth Prowler, Chrysler Prowler, for better or worse, became famous in its own right as well. Neither would have happened without the other. Now, there's a lot of people that hate on this car because it does not have a V8 engine. It's a wimpy, measly V6. 253 horsepower is absolutely pathetic. Well, let me point something out that a lot of people don't think about when we're talking about cars from the 90s and the early 2000s. And that is, take a Mustang GT, for example. Mustang GT came in 2002 with a 4.6 liter V8 engine. All right, there's the V8 that everybody wants, right? 4.6 liter overhead cam V8. It produced 260 horsepower. It was heavy. The thing was a tank. It was a boat. And that car, with its 260 horsepower, managed 0 to 60 in right around 6 seconds. Take a look at this. This is an all aluminum, lightweight, 253 horsepower V6. All right, and this V6 will sprint this car from 0 to 60. You want to take a guess? You're looking at about 5.5 seconds. Yes, this car with its wimpy V6 can absolutely outrun a Mustang GT from the same era, mainly because this car is lightweight. Well, I had to do a little bit of math, but let's just say this thing weighs 2,838 pounds. The Mustang GT of the same era, in a convertible as well, is 3,400 pounds. So you see there's a significant weight difference between this little car and the Mustang GT. Now, if you start looking at things like the Camaro SS, well, all of what I just told you kind of goes out the window because the Camaro SS was kind of dominating the scene back in these days. It had an LS1 that produced something like 350 horsepower, something like that, 340 horsepower, and it was relatively lightweight as well. So everybody throwing shade at this little engine, I don't know, maybe you should be throwing some shade at Ford for not producing a better muscle car for back in the day, because this thing is absolutely going to stomp it, at least from 0 to 60. Now, I'll be the first to admit this is not a race car, okay, but it should have enough power to get you around. We got some aftermarket struts on the front. What do these say? These are Alden American 10-450. Never heard of them. I think that's what it says. Alden American. We have sway bar links right here. Commonly bad. Guess what? They're bad on this one as well. Yeah, so that's nice. Overall, though, the car actually looks pretty dang good. One of the things that I hate is that somebody painted this raw aluminum black. I get that they were trying to hide it, but look how bad of a job they did here. All of this needs to come off. All of this needs to go back to being that raw aluminum look. That is part of the aesthetic of this car. I'm glad that they kept the bumpers, although this one is a tad on the loose side. Yeah, there's something in there needs to be tightened down a little bit. This one is good and tight. You can see the tires are like new. What are we? What have we got here? Nexen on the front, Infera tires, and the fenders actually move with the wheels, which is kind of cool. I think this is an aftermarket chrome stick-on, which I think looks absolutely horrible. but you know, it's attached. What are you gonna do, right? Back here, this is another interesting fact of the car. Nexen Rodian HP on the back. These were the biggest wheels that you could get back in this era, guys. 20-inch wheels by today's standards, not so impressive, right? But back then, 20s on the back, that was unheard of. This was an industry first. Chrysler was putting 20-inch wheels on this car. 20s on the back, 17 staggered on the front. This car really is truly a piece of American automotive history, even though people love to hate on it. I think it is a super unique and cool little car with emphasis on the little. Now let's open the top. I'm going to show you how that works. There's a little yellow button hiding right here. There you go. It springs to life. And there's your trunk. It even has some little straps, which I'm not really sure what these go to. I should probably read some instructions on this. Maybe this is to hold the top down, because as you saw, it kind of sprang up when I opened it. Like, it's under some tension. I don't know if you're supposed to use these straps to hold the top down. But anyway, here is the transmission computer. And I noticed as soon as I got it, somebody's done some splicing. Right there, right there, right there. Oh, there's another one right there. Leaves me wondering why somebody was digging into this. Maybe the computer had problems. I don't know, maybe a mouse got a hold of the wiring. Or maybe they had soldered in a module. If you change the gears in the transmission, which is super easy to do, they sit under this Prowler cover right here. This is not factory, by the way. That's aftermarket, and it's a little, it got a couple dings in it or whatever. But ow, that is very sharp. That is exceptionally sharp. Anyway, the trans cooler sits right here, and right behind it is the transaxle. You can see it right there. Super easy to get to. Looks like it's pretty easy to work on. Everything back here looks dry and relatively clean, which is always nice. But there's a set of gears back there. You may have seen it on Hoovie's Garage that you can change, and it gives your car a lot more lower end torque. Really gives it some oomph so you could spin the tires and things of that nature. This really wasn't made to be like a crazy performance car. It's kind of just a really cool throwback to 30s hot rods, but I think more of a cruiser. But we're going to find out more about that here in just a minute, because everything that I've heard about this car, everybody says they ride like crap. So depending upon how this car runs and drives and rides, that will determine whether this is something I might want to hold on to for a while and enjoy, or, you know, something I just want to send down the road. Kind of like the Viper, very plasticky, very 90s and early 2000s Chrysler-y. You know what I mean? Chrysler-esque is a good word. It is, yeah, just plastic absolutely everywhere. Very cheap, unfortunately. But again, remember, I was getting ready to put it in neutral like it's the Viper. Fires right up. It's nice and quiet. We're about to find out what the mileage is on it. Mileage shows to be 28,136. It's a brand new car, guys. Quarter tank of gas. You can clearly see the temperature gauge is cold. Oil pressure is good, and the voltage is good. We got a little tack. It's a little foggy. It looks like somebody scuffed it or something. I don't know what's going on there. The lens is definitely foggy. Let's give it a little rev. I mean, I kind of like the exhaust, guys. Coming over here, air conditioner vents. Definitely turn the AC on and see how it works. We'll give that a minute to, oh, no, it's already cool. That was quick. That was actually really fast. What do we got in here? Oh, we got some books. Oh, some service records maybe. I'll look through those later. I don't want to give away anybody's information. We have auto volume, auto volume, low, off, and high. So this will be like your speed-dependent volume. The faster you go, the more it turns it up. I actually don't like it. I always turn it off. It's nice. You got a physical rocker button to shut that off. You got a power outlet right here. Air conditioning is cold, and take a look at the old Chrysler stereo, guys. You guys remember this? These were in everything, from a Dodge Intrepid, a Dodge Neon, Plymouth Highline. I mean, these stereos were in everything. Same thing with the air conditioner vents. They were in everything. This is from a Dodge Durango. They just put a Prowler logo on it. These door handles are from a Dodge Viper. That's right. Dodge Viper, Dodge Neon, Dodge Durango, Dodge Neon, Dodge Intrepid. It's same thing, Dodge Intrepid. Most of the parts from this car are not dedicated to this car. They're parts that you could find for just about any other, look at this, any other Chrysler Dodge product that was on the market back then. And that's because this was not supposed to be its own unique car from the ground up. This was a parts bin car. It was just an experimentation in using aluminum. It's got aluminum body panels. It's got an aluminum frame. This was just a test run for them so that they could learn how to do this stuff for future generations of vehicles that they were going to be producing. So they decided to sell a limited number of them to the public. And there you go. It's got cruise control also, which is nice because my Viper over there, that does not come with cruise control. This is a super cool car. And a lot of people that complain about the engine not being a V8, you need to understand they weren't going to take an iron block V8 and stick it into this car. They designed the frame and the suspension with this motor and transaxle in mind. If you had changed anything, the transaxle back there, that could never hold up to horsepower and torque from a V8 engine. It just wouldn't happen. You'd have to design a whole nother transaxle, or you'd need to redesign the interior to support a front-mounted engine with the transmission, and then you'd need a rear differential in the back. It was designed this way for a reason. Just enjoy and appreciate the car for what it is instead of hating on it for what it isn't. So it's time to take it for a drive. Let's turn on this radio. I already turned it on earlier. There's the power button right there.
You may even have type 2 diabetes. $1 million
rattling
of term insurance may only cost you about
and
$200
rattling. Front
a
speakers
month.
need to be replaced. That's fine. All right, she's in gear. You guys ready? Let's take her for a ride. The only problem that I have with this car, honestly, is that I can't see what's happening out there. I can't see, like, this is where I'm sitting. I have you guys literally at eye level with where I'm at. I can't see the front end at all. Like, I'm afraid if I try to go through here, I'm gonna hit something. No, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, this is sketchy. Look how the fenders turn. How bizarre. This is, it's a crazy car. All right, let's get it on the road. Moment of truth. Oh, wow. Oh, she's kind of torquey, guys. I'm not even kidding with you. Like, she's got some kick to her. Okay. I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't expect for it to kick out like that, but she's got some pep in her step. Coming to the interior here, the gauges are a little awkward, being way over here and you're typically looking this way. That's a little different. The ride quality, though, is very good, and that is thanks to this being a 2002. They did a lot of different modifications to the suspension over the years to try to give it a smoother, more manageable ride, and thankfully by 2002 they pretty much resolved everything that this car had had problems with in the past. Now, with that said, the suspension on this is not factory. You can clearly see somebody has changed at a minimum the front struts on this, but it rides very well. Of course, I've been driving a Dodge Viper all day, so driving a soapbox car would be smooth as silk compared to driving a Dodge Viper. We're doing 75 miles an hour. That doesn't seem like we're going 75. Really? This does not. Now it says we're going. Okay, so now we're doing 65? No way. That can't be right. And it does not seem like the cruise control is working. This feels like we're going like 50. Hold on, guys. Let me pull out my GPS. All right, so we're going about 75. According to the speedometer, 80. We're doing about 80. It says we're doing 63 at 80. And that is why somebody's been messing with the wires for the transmission in the trunk. There is a module that you're supposed to install that adjusts your speedometer for those new gears that are back there. So I think somebody has replaced those gears in the back but they removed the module that was responsible for altering the speedometer to make it accurate. So let's check a few things like the wipers. They work. We'll turn on the headlights signals. They sound like they're working. They seem to be blinking awful fast though. The cruise control is right here. When you turn it on, I can't even see the dang thing. There's so much sun out here. Cruise control is not working, but it seems like everything else is. Let's turn on, in fact, let's just turn on the flashers if we could find, there we go. Flashers, let's make sure they're working. Lift up the tilt wheel and climb out. Definitely easier to get in and out of than the Viper is, guys. Much easier to get in and out of, and it rides a whole ton better. We do have some flashers right here. I see the flashers here. Headlights are working. Same thing, flasher there and a headlight there. Let's go around back. That flasher is working as well. We have flashers here, yep, and lights. Very nice. So it looks like the majority of everything on this car is working. It sounds pretty good. It does have a few little nicks and dings here and there. You know, it's an older car that obviously wasn't loved and appreciated as much as it should have been. But, you know, overall, I think it still presents itself very well. We're gonna have to try to find that module to put in the trunk, because a speedometer being like 20 miles an hour off, well, that's a problem. You know, I think I'm going, it says I'm going 80, but it feels like I'm going, you know, like 60. That's not good. Brakes feel good. It seems to be running absolutely perfect. This would be a great candidate for a wrap. You know what I mean? No smoke. No signs of anything going wrong. No funny noises. Nice and quiet. Freezing cold air conditioning. And I love that they put whatever that is. I don't know if that's a Panther or a Cougar or a, I don't know what that is, but Prowler. They put it on absolutely everything. I think this car would be a great candidate for a custom wrap job, you know, to really give it kind of a one-off look. I'm gonna go ahead and put the top up. I'll show you guys how that works. Again, you gotta push the little yellow button. This folds out, and you gotta open your little clasps here, and another one right there. And then you just go up with the top, pull this back, and close. And then, actually, should we do this? Yeah, let's make sure the other side is clasped down as well. Pull this out. There we go. And we can ride back with it being a little more quiet and with air conditioning. Oh, you could turn the passenger airbag off there as well. That is nice. Let's bring this side down, if it's at all possible. Ugh. There we go. There's one side. Now let's do the other side. Mainly doing this because I'm curious to see what it sounds like with the convertible top closed. This really is not bad at all to get in and out of, guys. The Viper is such a, oh crap. The Viper is such a pain. All right, so here it is with the top up. It's more roomy than you might think. All right, take a look. There is room there. Now, if you're 6 foot or over, it might be a problem, but I am 5'11" and a half. I'm just short enough that I could fit in here without bumping my head on anything. Now you can see that the cruise control light is on. When I hit it again, it turns off. Roll up this window, and let's kick on some nice cold air conditioning. This actually isn't too bad, guys. I'm kind of impressed. It is a very, oh, I think you have to, oh crap, did I just open it? I did. Dummy. All right, air conditioning is on, nice and cold. We're in gear. Blind spots. Oh man, you could say that again. Take a look in this thing. You literally can't really see anything in this. It is a little more claustrophobic. I need to turn this tilt wheel back down just a hair. There we go. All right. This is really rough terrain right here, so the fact that it's doing very well, relatively quiet. All right. Let's just give it a little rip, you know what I mean? Oh, it's burning the tires. Whoa! Oh! Yeah, somebody's been into that back end, guys. Somebody's changed the gears on that transmission. I've seen these things on video. They don't do that. All right, let's just do like a quick 0 to 60. I'm going to be gentle on it because it's trying to burn the tires. Oh my God, this thing just throws you around. Good Lord. I'm not even kidding, guys. Now, 0 to 60 should be improved over that initial like 5.5 seconds or whatever it was. She is torquey, and yes, it absolutely lights I didn't expect that. I did not expect it to actually light the tires up. I had to get out of the throttle because it just wouldn't stop spinning the tires. I'm assuming there's no traction control on this. I don't see any buttons for traction control anywhere. Honestly, we should have done a 0 to 60 on this. Maybe we should do it again. Let's slow down and let's try it again. Unfortunately, I can't just launch it because it loses traction. So I have to kind of ease into her. All right, ready, set, go. Oh, it chirps second. Wow. Wow. Okay. Kind of got me wondering if the exhaust is stock because that exhaust sounds a little aggressive. It chirps second gear, just like the video Hoovie's Garage did when he had the exact same mods done to his. Yeah. Let's try to set the cruise. The cruise control does not work. I don't know if you've got to hold it. Let me try holding it. Let's hold it down. I'm just pushing it, pushing the set button. No, cruise control just doesn't work. That's it, like it just doesn't work. So, I was kind of hoping that this was a stock car. I really wanted to experience one of these in its stock form. And I was going to purchase the upgrade kits myself. I found them at I think it's called ProwlerStore.com. Those gears, I think, are like $1,400. There's a tune that's like another $400, and there's a transmission tune. It's another couple $100, plus the little module for the speedometer. There's lots of little upgrades for this car that can cost you, I mean, some pretty good money, but they really wake the car up. Unfortunately, it looks like this car already has some mods because it may not be fast by today's standards, but for a 2002 with a 3.5 liter V6 naturally aspirated, this car is actually quite enjoyable. This is a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. And deer just ran right out into the road. I had to slam the brakes as soon as I turned the camera off. As soon as I turned the camera off. Oh man. You hear that? What? Anyway, forget the deer. This thing is a blast. This little car, I don't care what anybody says. I know that there's going to be a ton of hate in the comment section. Go ahead, troll away to your little heart's content. I'm telling you, with the right mods, this car is a blast. It's not the Viper. No, it's not the Plaid either. But this is honestly pretty damn impressive. And as smooth as this rides, I would drive this thing anywhere. I would have no issue taking this thing out on the road and going on a tour or a trip with it. Well, I say that, except that there's nowhere to put luggage. There's nowhere to put anything in this car, actually. Okay, so that could pose a potential problem, all right? But still, this little car, 2,800 pounds, guys, what a beast. At the end of the day, my little car that I got for $21,000 is a blast to drive. Let's think about that for a minute. Like, what could you go out and buy today for $21,000 if you wanted something that was practical? By the way, these cars get something like 25, 26 miles a gallon, which by today's standards may not be great, but I don't think that's bad either. It gets really good fuel economy on the highway. You have all the creature comforts that you could ever want. Cruise control, if only it worked. Horn, yes, it works. You have a nice little radio with a tape player. You have cold air conditioning. You have gauges and power steering, power brakes, a convertible top. You even have 32 miles of range left. Oh boy. Well, that's good to know. Is there any way to change? Can you scroll through any of that? No, I don't think. Oh, there we go. Odometer. Do we have an average miles per gallon? 17.3. You know, I mean, I was out there beating on it, guys. A range of 32 miles. Tells you your directions. That's kind of nice. A little trip computer. I don't know how well it comes out on camera, but it directions, temperature outside. This is a great little car for $20,000, guys. 21. I'm sorry. There's going to be somebody gets me in the comment section for saying 20 when it's really 21. $21,000. I'm thinking of all the different cars you could go out and buy today that would be good little cars. And the great thing about this is because it's all parts bin type of stuff, everything in this, mostly everything in this, can be bought for relatively cheap, especially the big components like the transaxle or this 3.5 liter engine. Guys, this engine, you could probably get this engine from a reputable salvage yard with a warranty for like $500. All right. If you need an engine for that Viper, let me tell you something. And I know I'm comparing apples to mangoes here, right? The Viper and the Prowler are not in the same league. They're not even on the same planet, in the same solar system, right? But an engine for this, that's going to run you at least $10,000, and cross your fingers that you got a good one. I think both cars are very unique in their design, their appearance, the way they function, what they're designed for. Like I said, that is a race car, okay? This is really more of a, well, I don't know exactly what it is. It's a great little cruiser. Could be a decent little commuter, so long as you don't carry anything with you. You know, if you don't have any baggage, or you're not going grocery shopping, or you need to put anything in the car at all, well, this is a great, fun, and very unique vehicle that I think will get a ton of looks. The Viper, tons of looks as well. Of course, it's a little more versatile because it actually has a trunk and places to put things. But hey, like I said, they're two completely different cars built for completely different purposes. I'm thinking if you wanted to go out and spend $20,000 on a new car today, obviously something with a warranty, maybe you could purchase, and this is a maybe, do they still make the Chevy Aveo? I don't know. Do they make a Chevy Sonic? Those might possibly be within the $20,000 range. Do they still make the Hyundai Accent? That would probably also be around the $20,000 mark. What I'm saying is you could get any of those new cars, and of course you would get a warranty, and you get practicality. Oh man. See, now you're killing me, all right? But you just don't get the cool factor that you get from something like this. Now, if you don't like these front bumpers, I have to admit they are kind of ugly, and this one is, you know, what's going on there, man? We gotta figure out how these bolt on, and we gotta fix that, because that shouldn't be rocking around like that. But if you don't like the bumpers, there is a delete kit for them. If you don't like these side panels here, they actually have lots of different variants of it with like slits going down it. If that's what you're after, you can change that out. Just don't get your hopes up too much about body panel gaps, because Chrysler, Dodge in general, just wasn't exactly notorious for their their great gaps. But at the end of the day, this was a car that made history, guys. This is from a time, in fact, so is the Dodge Viper, when auto manufacturers were willing to take risks. They were willing to think outside the box and do things different from everybody else, even if they did lose money on their projects, even if they didn't work out exactly the way they hoped that they would. At least they went out and tried something new. And that is why cars like this and cars like this, they're gone, ladies and gentlemen, forever. I don't see anything as weird, unique, or even awkward looking as any of these cars ever coming back again. And of course, Chevy did try their hand at it too. If you remember, Chevy made the SSR. I actually had one of those. And even with an LS under the hood, the SSR is so big, bulky, and heavy, it doesn't even come close to competing with the Chrysler / Plymouth Prowler. Plymouth, that's a brand you haven't heard of in a while. Plymouth. That used to be a household name, guys. That was a name that was recognized. Everybody knew what a Plymouth was. The generations today, they're not going to know what a Plymouth is, ladies and gentlemen, and that's really sad. And unfortunately, by the time this car was out in 2002, if I remember correctly, Plymouth was already on the chopping block. They moved the Plymouth over to Chrysler. And if you'll notice, nothing on this car says Plymouth. Back in the day, you would have had a big Plymouth on this back bumper here. It's gone. They just deleted it. Now all it says is Prowler. Used to have that Plymouth badge. Instead, you got Chrysler. Sad times, guys. Sad times. I think technology is great. Obviously, I've had plenty of electric cars on the channel, and I enjoy them. They're fun. But I am truly going to miss the days when people would go out and create things like this. With that, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed my Plymouth Plymouth. It's still ingrained in my head. Plymouth Prowler. I'll never think of this as a Chrysler Prowler. If you enjoyed the video of my Chrysler Prowler, hit the thumbs up button. Definitely drop your comments below. Tell me what you think. I think for 21 grand, good luck finding a better deal on one with a clean title that runs and drives and is not wrecked. All right, I did a lot of research on this car before making this video, and I couldn't find anything even remotely close to this. Although, there's one guy in Canada that says he can buy these for $5,000 to $8,000 all day long. Yeah, I don't think so. With that, I'm going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, stay safe out there. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.